Good morning and Happy New Year. I can't believe it's 2019 already. Crazy. My name is Colette Broomhead, and I'm here to chat to you about a way you can spend 5 minutes a day to grow your business. Before I get into that, though, I want to firstly check that I am live. I tend to be a little bit careful around Facebook Lives because when I first started doing them, admittedly a year or two ago now, a few times I did a complete Facebook Live and didn't actually realise that I wasn't live and that I was just talking to myself. So I tend to be a bit careful these days. But no, it looks like I'm live, so that's a good start. So let me introduce myself. My name is Colette Broomhead. I'm an online startup strategist. And that basically means that I work with new online business owners, people who either haven't got started at all yet but want to, or people who are in the early stages of their business, not really growing yet. Morning, Melanie. I hope you're okay. I'm so sorry to hear about your eye. How awful. I hope you're on the mend, and prayers definitely being said for you. So I help new online business owners, and I help people basically get to the point where they are able to replace their 9-to-5 income. And if they're still working a 9-to-5, quit that for good. So now, today, the 2nd of January, the start of a new year. And so I recently published a business growth calendar for January. And what it does is it gives you daily prompts, little steps that you can take each day to help you grow your business, because essentially that's how it's done. It's done one step at a time. And sometimes starting a new online business, growing an online business can seem completely overwhelming. It can feel like we've got 101 things to do, it's too much, we've never got time, and all of that stuff. And the idea of this is to bring it back down, to simplify. I'm a big fan of keeping things simple. And by just giving you one small step a day to focus on, because if you can just take one small step every day, your business will grow. So if you haven't seen that calendar yet, I have left a link in the description of this Facebook Live where you can go and get yourself a copy of it. And I recommend that you do. And if you know anyone else who is, also getting started with a new business, not yet replaced their 9-to-5 income but wants to, then please do share with them as well, because I want as many people as possible to see and benefit from this calendar. So today's prompt was all about starting a journal. And to be honest, I hesitated about putting this in the prompts because I tend to shy away from the kind of more touchy-feely side of business. I tend to be much more on the kind of strategic tactics and all of that kind of side of things. And I'm not going to be calling it writing a journal anymore. That is definitely the kind of on-trend term, but for me it's not writing a journal, it's not journaling, it's writing a diary. I've written a diary since I was 11 years old, and I can't bring myself to call it anything else, but you know what I'm talking about now that I've made that comparison. So from here on in, I shall be talking about writing a diary, but essentially that's what it is. It's journaling. So first of all, I want to talk to you about why should you bother writing a diary for your business? Why would it possibly help you? Well, like I say, I've written a diary since I was 11. Of course, not for my business since I was 11, because I didn't have a business when I was 11. And in fact, I've only very recently even thought of it in terms of growing my business. But I can account to the fact that it really does help. And there are a few reasons why. So number one, there is something about writing things down which helps to take all those kind of jumbled, overwhelming thoughts, ideas, feelings, all of that messy stuff going on in your head. There is something about taking that and putting it down on paper which just helps you to feel better. It helps you to sort through all of those thoughts, all of those feelings. and kind of get them out of your head and into some kind of order. So first of all, that is a huge benefit in itself. I don't know if you're like me. Oftentimes I find myself, especially, when you least want to, when you're trying to get to sleep at night, lying in bed and suddenly all of these thoughts churning through your mind. It's unbelievable the effect of just taking those thoughts and writing them down in a diary helps to get them out of your mind so that then you can, focus on something else, whatever that may be, going to sleep, spending time with your family where you're actually present with them, all of that stuff. Honestly, it helps so much. Another great benefit of writing a diary, and I'm going to keep checking my notes here because I don't want to forget to say everything I wanted to say, is keeping you accountable. There is something about writing things down on paper which makes it feel more of a commitment than just thinking things. So if you have decided to do something in your business, you should do something in your business, you intend to do something in your business, just the act, we all know that we need to be kept accountable. That we see people asking, accountability partners and all of this kind of stuff, because it's important, because sometimes we are not enough on our own to keep ourselves accountable. And that's especially true when all we've got is what's in here, and a kind of half promise we've made to ourselves in our own mind. Just the act of taking that commitment from our head and putting it down on paper helps us to feel more committed to that act. It's on paper now, it's real, and so we are more likely to do it. And it sounds silly, but it's true. So just giving ourselves that extra bit of accountability, making that kind of half promise in our mind turn into more of an actual commitment that's on paper, really does make a difference. So what else? It helps you stay focused. Again, it's all about unjumbling those thoughts, unjumbling all those ideas and everything, and getting them down on paper. In order to get something from your mind into paper, you have to actually create something coherent, something that makes sense that you can write down. And just the act of doing that helps to focus your thoughts, helps to get them more organized, helps you to work through them and put them into some kind of usable order that you can then take and move forwards with in your business. And then lastly, and I say lastly only because this is the last point that I have, not because it's by any means the last benefit that there is of keeping a diary, is just simple memory. From a personal perspective, one of the things I've always loved doing is going back and reading my old diaries from when I was a kid, from when I was at uni and so on, remembering things that I would have otherwise forgotten, even things like checking dates of when things happened to resolve arguments. That can often also be very useful. Now, from a business perspective, it can just be a simple case of, again, if your head is full of ideas, you want, jotting them down on paper will help you remember them, will help you to stay focused on them. It will also, looking back over your previous diary entries, can help you see, mistakes that you've made, feelings that you've had, perhaps when you're feeling particularly low in your business. If you look back over a period where you were feeling kind of high and confident and buoyant, that in itself can help you, refill you with those feelings. It's amazing, the power that looking back and reading through those memories can help you, can re-inspire some of those positive emotions again. So ultimately, the reason that writing a diary is so powerful in your business is because building a business is largely mindset. Strategy you can learn. There are things, the tech side, if you're not very good at the tech side, you can actually pay for someone to do that for you. But if your mind isn't right, if you are not in a good place with your mind, your business isn't going to grow. You're not going to get anywhere. You need to, be able to persevere. You need to be able to get through the tough spots, because there will be tough spots. You need to believe in yourself, even if no one else believes in you. You need to believe in yourself. Even if everyone else believes in you, if you don't believe in yourself, it's all for nothing. So your mind needs to be in the right place. And if it's not, you are really going to struggle with your business. And just spending, honestly, 5 minutes a day, keeping things on track, keeping your thoughts focused, reviewing what's going on in a diary makes all the difference. Sorry, my voice keeps cracking. The emotion of it all. So that's why. Now, let's move on to how. If you've never written a diary before, if you've never journaled before, then you might be kind of thinking, well, I don't really know where to start. I don't really know what you're supposed to do. What would I write? And I mean, at the end of the day, there is no right or wrong here. Freestyle. My diaries, if I look back to when I was 11, my diaries were, all sorts of nonsense. And I wasn't writing for any reason other than I enjoyed writing a diary. I enjoyed writing about what I'd done that day. So by all means, just start by freestyling. Just sit down and write what comes to mind. How are you feeling? What have you done today? What's going on in your business right now? Just freestyle. If you prefer more structure, because some people do, then use a structure. Think of 3 or 4 key things that you want to cover each day. So one example that I have tried myself and that works really well, I tend to be more of a freestyler. So oftentimes, even though I aim to have a structure, I end up waffling off into my own little world. But if you prefer that structure, something that's really helpful to stick to is perhaps jotting down between 1 and 3 goals that you have. Now, depending on when you write your diary, it could be, if you're writing it in the morning, it could be 1 or 3 goals that you have for that day. Or if you write it in the evening, perhaps before you go to bed, 1 or 3 goals that you have for the following day. Either is fine, obviously. Keep them simple. This is absolutely, I say this in absolutely everything, and because I so believe this is so important, especially in business where things can so easily feel overwhelming. Keep it simple. You don't need to write an essay. You don't need to be sitting down for hours. Like I say, this should be something that you can do in 5 minutes. You don't want to be spending your whole day on this. It's just a 5-minute quick exercise to keep you on track. So 1 to 3 goals that you have for that day. Now, this isn't like a to-do list. This is something that, if I achieve only 3 things today, what are those 3 things that I really want to get done? What are my absolute top priorities? So this isn't, like, well, I need to, do the dishwasher. I need to put the laundry on, blah, 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 blah. No. These are the 3 key things. What will make your day a success if you have achieved these? And I say 3 things. Of course, it could be 1 thing, it could be 2 things. I wouldn't have more than 3 because, again, you don't want to overwhelm yourself. But it's the kind of things that you need to focus on, that are going to move the needle forwards. Now, for me, I have one of those goals relating to my business, just one. I have one goal relating to, something in my personal life. So it could be, it could be as simple as I need to buy a card for someone, or I need to, something I really need to do, or I've been putting off. And then something that's more kind of personal to me, like quality time, like I need to spend, at least an hour with my boys, being present and having fun with them today. Actually, I need some me time today. So I'm going to commit to spending an hour doing something just for me, reading a book or watching my favourite TV show or whatever it may be. You get the drift. Now, like I say, there are no rules to this. You don't have to do that. You could have, 3 personal goals, 3 business goals, a mix of each day. Whatever works for you, but this is it gives you some kind of structure. So that's number 1 of your structure, is setting yourself some goals. Number 2 is reviewing the previous day's goals. So you set yourself goals yesterday. How did they go? What happened? Did you achieve them? If so, how did that make you feel? Talk about, it felt really good because I got these done. And the reason I got them done was X, Y, Z, because that can be really helpful to look back on the days where you're not feeling so good. Or perhaps you didn't get them done, in which case, write about that. Why didn't you get them done? What happened? What can you learn from it? How can you take that and move and, improve next time? So it's all, little learning steps and little things that you can do to improve the following day. So you set yourself some goals, you review yesterday's goals, and then thirdly, just chat about, and how are you feeling? So how are you feeling today? You know, what's your overall, you know, are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you feeling, you know, ready to go out and win the world? You know, how are you feeling? Talk about that a little bit, even if it's just a few sentences, because again, that can be really helpful, really powerful, to get it out of your mind and to actually recognize and spend some time thinking about how you're feeling, but also to look back on. It can be really helpful to go back and see, you know, especially on the days where you're feeling like super down or super unmotivated, or like you just can't do it, like you're a failure. We all have those days. There can be nothing so helpful as to look back at your own words, your own writing, saying, I feel on top of the world today. I know that I can do this. And just reminding yourself of those positive feelings instead. Really, really, really helpful. So that's the how. Lastly, just a couple of tips. So one, I've said it a few times already, keep it simple. Don't overwhelm yourself. This isn't something which is meant to become a chore, which is meant to kind of add to your already long list of overwhelming things you need to do. This is a short and sweet exercise which is meant to reduce all of that. So don't set yourself too much to do. Just a few sentences. You know, if you're really tired, if you're really busy, just sit down and write a few sentences. It literally can take just a couple of minutes. Don't feel like you have to go out and buy some expensive diary or planner or whatever. Honestly, a notebook is fine. I tend to get a hardback notebook just because it feels a bit nicer. This is mine at the moment. It doesn't have, you know, it's literally just a plain notebook. It hasn't got any kind of diary structure to it, because I prefer to, you know, on some days I'll write pages and on other days I'll write a few sentences, and I don't want to have, you know, be limited in my space. So yeah, literally just a hardback book that you can get from any kind of stationery shop, or, you know, newsagent or wherever. Nothing fancy. And that's it. And just try it. Honestly, if you've never done this before, I can totally understand if you're feeling a bit dubious. You know, how on earth could just writing a few thoughts down on paper make such a difference? I urge you to try it, if not just for this month. Give it 1 month and see what you think at the end of the month. And I would love to know how you get on. So do let me know. And that's it. So I'll remind you again, if you don't already have the Business Growth Calendar, the link is in the description of this video. Do go and get yourself a copy so that you can see all the prompts for January. There's a different prompt every single day to help you grow your business. So do go and get yourself a copy of that. I won't be going live every day for all of the prompts, but I will be going live on a pretty regular basis this month. So keep an eye on that. I will let you know. Also, when you sign up for the calendar, you will be getting daily emails to back up those prompts and give you a bit more in-depth information on those as well. So that's it for me. If you have enjoyed this video, do give me a like. Do let me know. It's always nice to know that you're not talking to the wind. So say hello, give me a like whether you're watching live or in the replay, and get yourself that calendar. And if you know anyone else who would find this helpful, then please do share both the live and the calendar with them. I would be most grateful for you to help me get the word out and help as many people as possible. Have a wonderful day, and I shall speak to you again soon. Take care.